Dear tender of so many sparks, gardener of the sacred domestic, world maker, world changer, and world sustainer, this is day one of Sparktending, 10 minutes a day of perspectives and instructions gleaned from a life of listening to brilliant mothers, thinking, acting, creating, and loving on our own behalf. Wiping snot, brushing teeth, making breakfast, reading a story, applying a band-aid, offering a hug, planning the play date, supervising the homework, packing the lunch, doing the bills, bringing the outgrown clothes to the used clothing store, trading for clothes that fit, visiting the doctor, scheduling the dentist, limiting screen time, visiting the emergency room, nursing, taking a temperature, offering a snack, ordering the pizza, managing behavior, heating up the formula, unmanaging the behavior, hiding, seeking, building cities with blocks, nursing, constructing pillow forts, meeting teachers, soothing, attending meetings, planning homeschool days, arranging carpools, shopping for groceries, supper making, supervising video games, welfare line standing, laundry doing, neighbor helping. And then there's facing emotional challenges, your child's emotional challenges that might get wrapped around the issue of teeth brushing or a broken cookie, or the more troubling things, being bullied, our own emotional challenges, watching our children go out into the world and getting hurt physically or emotionally or spiritually or all of the above, and coming home to us to recover. And then you do help them recover one way or another, though you may have no idea how to. Fear. Will they make it? From the toddler walking near the staircase to the teenager walking into streets of racism, what if they don't survive? What if we don't? The mutual love and need for each other's existence can be overwhelming. Will we do this right? Will we survive our love for them? Will we damage them because of the ways that we struggle? Phew, it's a lot to do and hold. And that's only one of our jobs in the world. I've been working with lots of moms over the years, and especially in these last 6 months, and I've heard a lot about a lot of struggles and a lot of triumphs and joys. And there are a lot of common themes. And one is that we get very focused on just making our own daily life work, training ourselves always into this work, just surviving the pressures and stress and the feelings, especially the feelings that are a part of motherhood. But one thing that rarely comes to the top of our minds when we're talking about it is what goes on beyond the individual, the cultural context in which we mother. So this is where our journey begins for these 2 weeks. In all of our variety and our diversity of experience and heritage and economic status and more, the dominant culture, the economic system that provides a context for all of us in some way as parents offers some perspectives on mothering. I'm going to be talking about the United States primarily here because that's where I am and that's what I know, and that's where most of the moms I work with are from. Perspective number 1. Motherhood is inevitable. When are you going to have a child? Oh, are you married? I've saved my kid's baby clothes for you. She's 40. I wonder if she's had fertility problems and she doesn't have a partner. The idea is that all women will or should want to become mothers. It's still very much expected. Perspective number 2. You get to have it all. Current day moms can have careers, be parents, and achieve physical and spiritual wellness all at the same time. So let's unpack this one a little bit. Despite the myth that the U.S. is ahead of all other nations in equity for women, we're actually only one of 3 nations in the world that do not offer the universal right to maternity leave for female workers. It's us, Oman, and Papua New Guinea. Where paid maternity leave is present in some companies or organizations, and it's much less so now than it was 5, 10, 20 years ago, it's eroding. Paternity leave almost never is available. So again, we see that women are absolutely expected to be the primary parents, and we're economically penalized for doing it. The schools are underfunded. Preschool and daycare programs are so expensive that many of us can't use those systems fully so that we can work enough to even pay for them. The general outcome for women who become mothers is a drop in pay, a drop in engagement in the workforce, and this causes huge strain on families, on mothers, and on babies, and real economic penalties for bearing a child or children. So, in that sense, having it all is a myth. And when we believe it, we become so much harder on ourselves, blaming ourselves for feeling out of the loop, left at the side of the road, struggling, exhausted, wondering what happened to the dream. Perspective number 3, parenting is no biggie. Despite the fact that it's treated as inevitable, the fact that the work of parenthood and motherhood is so deeply neglected by the overall culture, economically, that positions the work that we're doing as actually pretty trivial, more like a hobby, or something like getting a new pet. Generally, there isn't a shared common cultural understanding for what the work of parenting is and means in our houses or the community at large, on a day-to-day basis or over the course of decades in a life. The idea that a child comes into your family and things go on as normal in most ways, with some cute diaper changing snafus and some extra cuddling, making everything that much more interesting. But as we know, there are periods of time in parenting which almost always include birth through preschool years, and often other time periods as well, when parenting is an all-day long and all-night-long job, not the kind of job you can take a break on or go unwind from, or get on-the-job training for, but a relentless, non-stop kind of job. It's many other things too, in addition to a job, and much of it is incredibly beautiful, meaningful, and life-giving. But the work of it, the actual labor, is trivialized and invisible. It's not supposed to be in our way. It's not supposed to take so much time. It's of little consequence. These messages and these myths affect all of us from all positions. We each have our own version based on our histories and the other identities and experiences that we carry. Racism, disability, class, gender, everything. Each adding the new layers of structural inequality and downright survival challenges for many of us. Why do I start our 10 glorious days of self-care and creativity attention with this yucky picture? Because, Mama, if you're going to put a bit more attention on your own well-being for these next 10 days, even in this 10 or so minutes a day, I want you to get one thing absolutely straight, okay? If part of your goal is to improve how you're doing, if there are some things that are hard about being a mom and a creative soul and a human being with a body in this world, whether that's feeling alone with the work of parenting or the feelings that come along with it, or feeling that the world is passing you by, resentful that your child-free friend is getting the success that they're going after, or if you're just so sick of doing laundry, or feeling like you just work at your job and work at home and work at your job and work at home. And where is the old, wild, creative you? Hiding? Or you're not sticking to your exercise plan, or you really need some better systems, or whatever it is that you're striving to get on top of. These struggles are not your fault, Mama. They simply aren't. You see, it's collective. It's hard to see sometimes, but your struggle was set up for you. It wasn't made by you. So if you didn't try to improve yourself or anything in your life over the next 10 days, and all you get out of this is knowing that parenting under these conditions, you're doing pretty damn good, and the places you struggle are not your fault, then a victory for you has been won. And that's why I started with the yuck first. So, are mothers important? Is our work trivial? Here's a perspective I'd like to send you off with today. In the face of speed culture, the magnitude of the world's problems, the violent pace of society, we can feel pretty small as we do our daily acts of parenting. But imagine for a moment a culture or a society that values and feeds and sustains and supports and nourishes every human being of any age. A culture in which the exploitation of humans or land is unthinkable. The raising of children would be the central work of the entire society, along with the nourishment and reciprocal relationship with the land and care for all beings. To save our world and ensure long centuries of flourishing for all its beings, we need to see this kind of vision of the world in our future and work towards it. As mothers, we know something about this. We live in that world, actually, much of the time. We live in a kind of ecological time. Our babies and our young children don't know about clocks and speed and magnitude. We circle our arms around our child, this one precious gift to the world, this unique being with a song and a light all their own. And we know it to be true. Every child on this earth deserves the utmost love, respect, and opportunity to live a long, healthy life of meaning and fullness. As mothers, we strengthen these muscles: patience, empathy, leadership, forgiveness, unconditional love, emotional depth, emotional multitasking, responsibility times 100, facing mortality, dancing with the uncontrollable, flexibility, soul-level accountability. What qualities can you think of that are more needed in the world than these right now? As you go into the world today, say to yourself, in feeding my children, clothing them, loving them, keeping them safe to the best of my ability, helping them recover from upset and injury, sharing my perspectives and listening to theirs, and offering myself in this most precious relationship, I am doing the work that is amongst the most important, meaningful, and central to the world. I deserve the very best of respect, care, and appreciation for this work. In doing the work of mothering, I'm doing the work that is most significant, meaningful, and central to the world, and I deserve the very best respect, care, and appreciation for this work. Repeat it in your own words. Lather, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat throughout your day, and see what it does to your mind and soul. And then join me tomorrow for day 2 of Sparktending. Please feel free to share this podcast with your friends. Encourage them to sign up to receive this daily gift in their inboxes. See you tomorrow, mamas.